Alright, we're back for round 2 with the 4-color Sultai Whip deck, and this hand looks reasonable. We obviously want to draw an untapped land so we can cast Character on 2 into Courser on 3. Otherwise we may end up being a little too slow. I've yet to actually cast Torn Elemental, so I'm wondering how good that card actually is in this deck. Lead with Opulent Palace, so if we don't draw land, we can always Thoughtseize and play the Frontier Bivouac on 2. For a moment, I considered the potential of... Oh, well. Okay, well that's Courser and not Goblin Rabble Master. If that was Goblin Rabble Master, we'd basically be dead. And we may be basically dead anyway if he has another... red source in hand, since that Thunderbreak Green is going to come down next turn. Well, he doesn't, so that's great. All these cards are pretty good against me. I guess we want to take Draconic Roar, maybe the Rose since it can kill the Courser. I guess we just kind of have to hope he doesn't draw another land. The Heir of the Wilds doesn't seem overly problematic. It's possible we should have just taken the Xenagos since we drew the Murderous Cut to deal with the dragon, and exactly this now. He gets to play a land and 2 Xenagos, and then we don't have another land, so we can't cast Courser. We don't have a way to kill the Xenagos, and we can't cast Sidisi next turn. It's one of the major dangers of playing a bunch of come and play tapped lands, so being on the draw also hurt pretty badly. Alright, well I guess we'll play the Wayfinder over the Caryatid, try to hit a Scry land. Plus we can, if we get an untapped land that taps for black, we can cast Murderous Cut. Yep, we'll just take that. Don't mind exiling any of these cards. And we'll stop during his draw step, see what he's going to draw next turn, and then just Murderous Cut his Courser. Yeah, so definitely do it now. Now if he wants to cast Thunderbreak, he has to tick up his Xenagos. Doesn't get to make another guy. Hopefully we draw an untapped land so we can cast Sidisi, or a Hero's Downfall so we can kill the Xenagos. It's a little dangerous, I think, to this is strange. Draconic Roaring the Wayfinder? Okay. We are at a pretty low life total. Not sure why he's doing that now. I guess he knows he's going to draw a mountain, so he just wants to put another guy into play. Cast Heir of the Wilds. Hit us for 4. We go to 7. We know he has a Lightning Strike in hand as well. So we are basically dead here. Should have taken the Xenagos and let him keep the roast. Well, that was not a bad draw. We at least get to have a chance to hit a creature and then make a guy. But our Sidisi is likely going to get hit with a Lightning Strike. It's going to make another guy. We block air, take 6 down to 1. Oh no, we're actually just dead. I take it back. 100% dead though. I think we're just dead from attacking and lightning striking our dome. But we're dead from attacks as well, since the Elvish Mystic can attack here too. Alright, well, slow start. And having to play the Wayfinder over the Caryatid, a little awkward. Both of our first 2 lands coming to play tapped, also gross. Again, Thoughtseize does not seem all that great here. He's able to put a lot of pressure on our life total with things like Storm Breath, Xenagos, and Draconic Roar. And even though we're able to take some of that away from him with the Thoughtseize, maybe we do want him. Maybe we just need to be able to interact with him early. We definitely want it on the draw. I don't think we want it on the play though. We just want to try to ramp. Ultimate Price is great. Disdainful Stroke is great. Let's see. Well, think anything else here except maybe Hornet Queen is good. Again, we're going to play the control role, so we're going to cut the Torn Elemental. I mean, some of you might think that that sounds weird because Torn Elemental can keep coming back, and it can also block Stormbreath Dragon, but it's slow, kind of clunky, and its ability... Honestly, I think this card is just a little too cute for the deck in general, so I don't mind cutting it in most matchups. I think against like another Sultai deck you would want it. That way, if you both have CDC going, it's your one way to fight through the ground stall. Let's see. I guess there's an argument to be made to cut all the Sylvan Carrotids and just play Thoughtseizes. That way, if we're just slowing our opponent down with Thoughtseize, we don't actually need the Carrotid. I don't mind that. I don't want to cut too many creatures, though, because that makes Brood Tyrant a lot worse. All the dragons seem good. Hornet Queen seems good. Whip is awesome. Downfall removal. So it's basically either cut a few Carrotids or maybe trim like some Siddices or Tassigers. I think I'm going to cut down on one Siddice and one Tassiger. It's a little weird, but Tassiger is pretty bad in multiples, especially against green-red because he doesn't actually die to the burn spells in the deck. Alright, well, we'll keep this one. It's all mana and Dragon Lord Atarka. Let's see how this works out. Being on the play here is good. We can Carrotid into double Wayfinder, or if we draw a Brood Tyrant, we can cast that. The draws from the green-red decks that involve an Elvish Mystic into a 3-drop on turn 2, or a tap land and a 2-drop are pretty tough to beat. So whenever they start off with a Temple, I'm usually pretty happy. Elvish Mystic is pretty powerful on the play and the draw. On the draw, it lets you catch up, and on the play, it just pushes you really far ahead. Like last game, obviously, you saw turn 2 Courser into turn 3 Xenagos, which we could have prevented the Xenagos, but I'm not sure if we would have won that game in the long run. I was kind of just hoping he would brick on lands. Well, I just can't seem to hit off of a Satyr Wayfinder today. This is pretty gross. I really need to hit land drops for these 2 Atarkas that I have now. Alright, well, 1 land in the top 7. It's kind of weird, but whatever. Well, we got 6 of our 7 necessary. I guess we just want to draw 1 more land and then a few spells in the meanwhile. Missing and milling over 4 pretty decent spells. 2 Coursers, a Siddice, and a Murderous Cut on the first one is kind of disgusting. I am all about some double blocking here on this Heir of the Wilds, I think. There's no way he kept in like Wild Slash or anything like that, or brought it in, and Heir of the Wilds can eventually get bigger than my Wayfinders. Even though I want more creatures in play for Atarka, I want to preserve my life total. Alright, so let's hope we hit a spell we can play next turn. Whip of Erebos, that's a good one. I think we're going to win this one as long as he doesn't have a Destructive Revelry. Because we can we can whip next turn and then Atarka gain 5. And even if he's able to kill it somehow. Yeah, well, alright. Well, I have no idea what's in his hand. Probably all Stormbreath Dragons, but it's possible we want to save this to whip back something the turn we cast it in case he has Revelry, but I just want to use my mana efficiently, and I was kind of hoping there he was just stuck. And looks like he is just going to get eaten up by old Dragon Lord Tarka. That's how we drew it up, boys. Next turn we can whip back to DC and start attacking. I don't think his deck actually has any way to get Ojutai off the table. We'll gain 5 life. Plummet would be kind of weird to see from him in in this game, since we didn't show him anything weird in game 1 that flew. Maybe you could have guessed by the Frontier Bivouac in game 1 that we were splashing for a Tarka, or we were just some weird 4-color deck, like maybe the Chromanticore deck. That could have potentially baited him, not baited, but, you know, got him to sideboard and plummet. I'm assuming he just has no way to beat this guy, though. And luckily, even if he does, we have a backup. So we will whip back a Sidisi, start making some zombies. Hopefully. Maybe fill up our graveyard with some more fatty dragons. Alright, Lightning Strike's fine. Alright. Now we just got a bunch of Coursers and Wayfinders. If you cast Thornbreath Dragon, just big hair don't care. Just gonna keep jamming for 8 and gaining 8. Seems pretty difficult for old green-red CVM dragons to beat. I suppose next turn, depending on what we draw, we'll likely just whip back a Wayfinder. Don't need to hit lands, but we can potentially mill over like the Hornet Queen or something similar. Alright, well now we got a good target for our Dragon Lord Tarka, number 2, which we'll likely cast, and that'll put a... It'll put one in the graveyard for next turn also, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so we don't really need to whip back anything, but we'll attack first. Put him to 3. We're going to kill his elf and his Whisperwood, I think. Or we may actually kill his Elvish Mystic and his Manifest. The Whisperwood itself is not really that big of a deal. And if we kill the Whisperwood and the Elf, then that's going to let him, oh, well, we'll keep the new one that can block. Yeah, if we target the Whisperwood and the Elvish Mystic, he can sack the Whisperwood and get another Manifest. I know I want to kill the Elvish Mystic just to keep him off of mana. And we're just going to take the damage from Whisperwood attack, so... 46, you say. And if somehow our dragon dies, that'll leave us with 2 Dragon Lord Atarkas to get whipped back. Okay. There's a lot of stuff we can tutor for. Don't really need to do that right now, though. We're just going to attack, show him fewer cards in our deck, since I want to give him as little information as possible if I know that he probably has no way to deal with that. So, well, I guess he could have unmorphed his Thunderbreak Regent and blocked. Or unmanifested, if you will. Huh. It's kind of weird to see Course of Crufix and Air of the Wilds in the same list. We could potentially bring in Drown in Sorrow, but that really only hits Elvish Mystic, and he also had Caryatid, right? I think that game. So if he was playing Rattleclaw Mystic, I think Drown in Sorrow would be pretty good. But since he had Caryatid, I think I'll just leave it in the sideboard. So I think I'm just going to cut the Sylvan Caryatids, bring in the Thoughtseizes, and just try to slow him down. You know, just make sure that the cards we're casting each turn are impactful. Makes our top decks better. I don't mind cutting Caryatid in mid-range matchups that are very Thoughtseize, or where I want to Thoughtseize my opponent. But, well, I would have loved to have had a Sylvan Caryatid in this hand, but we, I don't know, didn't think. Well, we don't have a Thoughtseize, so I'm not sure which one I'd rather have, given the choice between the two, honestly. This sounds not bad, though. The very worst, we get to tutor for Frontier Bivouac if we really need to cast the Dragon Lord Tarka, or the Mana Confluence. Well, unfortunately, while Murder's Cut is really, really good in this matchup, I kind of feel like we need to bottom it. Just because we basically want to curve Courser into Sidisi and hope that that is good enough. We also really want to draw Thoughtseize, plus we don't have a way to turn on Murderous Cut right now, not quickly anyway. If we had a Wayfinder in hand, we would keep it almost certainly. Alright, well, we didn't want to draw that. Probably just going to get outpaced here by the Sylvan Caryatid. Thunderbreak Regents and Xenagoses and such. Wow, no 4-drop. That is fantastic for us. Well, he likely has a burn spell, or he's just sitting on a bunch of Stormbreath Dragons. We're going to play this Courser and try to leverage that over the next few turns to get a little bit of better card selection, and another Sidisi is not what we want. Didn't I side one of you out, lady? Here comes Stormbarf Dragon. Or Whisperwood. Stormbreath it is. Might be able to beat that eventually, since we have this whip. Can gain a reasonable amount of life. Really need an untapped land right now. Well, that was not it. And I don't think we can afford to draw Hornet Queen, unfortunately, even though it is one of our easiest ways to beat Stormbarf Dragon. It's possible I should hold back Courser to potentially block a Xenagos token, but I think he's just going to go Dragon, and I'm just going to get eaten. Yep. We are effectively dead. We don't have any removal spells. Maybe cutting Brood Tyrant is what I'm supposed to do in this matchup. But right now, this deck just feels incredibly clunky, and I don't really know how to change that. Guess, play Whip. I mean, there's not really even anything we can do here. All my lands come into play tapped. And just have so many expensive cards in this deck. And we're drawing that, so we're just dead. I'll play it out a little, but if he draws a land, he just gets the Monster Stormbreath Dragon and deal me bajillion. And his hand could have like 10 different things to kill me. Untapped land, Draconic Roar, Crater's Claw, Lightning Strike. Yep, here's Crater's Claw. Alright, well, this matchup did not feel great either. From what I can tell so far, this deck is a little too slow. I suppose that this version is a lot different from the other Sidisi whip type decks that I've played before in the past, and I don't know what to change yet. We're gonna play the next 2 rounds though, regardless of what happens, and try to learn some stuff about the deck and figure things out.